Hello, I'm Ravewood and welcome back to Raveheim. Darius and I are working out what we are doing. We haven't figured out our next plan going forward. We had planned on ending this season and starting a new one with other people, but we haven't had much luck finding other interested parties, so we're discussing what we want to do. In the meantime, though, I absolutely love this base. It is one of my favorites, and I want to see it completed. So, I was working on doing some landscaping up here for an upcoming video, and I thought, it was time that I upgraded the warehouse a little bit. I wanted to improve the roof, give it a little bit more shape and definition, which would add a little more definition to the whole warehouse. And at the same time, I wanted to replace the roof with the shingle roof to kind of bring it up to the level of technology that we have here and make it look a little bit better. So I started tearing it all apart, and I'm like, I should just make this into a tutorial episode. So let's get started here. I want to start off by making the eave come out past the edge, so more like that, but also down this way too, and have it stick out just a little bit so it looks a little better and has a little more shape to it than the very squarish building that we have now. So, oh, that was a fail. I need to eat and not hit the stamina button. Okay, so to start off with here, I'm going to come up to the roof and start from the eave and just build some pieces going down. Right now we've got one of the little, give it a second to respawn here. We've got this little peak piece, and I'm going to just remove the peak piece entirely and use these 26-degree shingle roofs all the way down. Now, down here at the bottom, we've got it sticking out past the edge like I want. So you can see here, we got it sticking out past the edge, but I also want it to stick out this way. But I only want it to stick out half a block, not a whole thing. So, we're just gonna jump down here and put out a little 1 meter wood beam. Now we've got something for it to snap to. And now we've got this half piece here. If I can break some of that other, there we go. Alright. Now with the half beam, we got the snapping point in, or it's the 1 meter beam, we got the snapping point in, and we can just carry this all the way back across the whole roof. Alright, you can already see with just this one side how bringing the eave out is adding a lot more shape to this house already. This side is very blocky, it just kind of goes up and then over, and this side comes out, and there's more details to it. Hello and welcome back. I worked through the night and I had to wait out the morning fog. So we got both sides of the roof replaced now, this is looking great, but I was looking at these eaves. No, eve is up there. Anyways, I was looking at these beams coming down. They didn't go all the way down anymore. And so I was popping in here to see about going and just extending them out the rest of the way down like that. And thought, that could look good. But when I was there, the first thing that popped into my sight was this thing. And so I thought, hey, let's give it a try. And I did, and I didn't like it. But I liked the concept. So I went back and I did it with this. And I kind of like that. It's a little weird, a little different. And so then I started going all the way up. And I like that even more. It looks great from down below down here. Just adds a little bit more detail to the roof, a little more texture, a little more height. Not so flat. And I think that turns out really good. So I'm going to carry that out through the rest of the roof. And yeah, the question is, do I want to do this also? You know, that's not bad either. Yeah, I think I'll carry the 1 meter beams out through the rest of the roof and also add this. This is giving this place a lot more texture and detail. And I like the dark color of the shingle roof better than the light color of the straw roof, because it adds more contrast throughout the build and gives, you know, 3 different bright colors, or 3 different color gradients. You got the dark roof, the brown of the walls, and what will be the green of the grass again when I get back to landscaping. We've got the roof done now, and I think this is looking fantastic. The sunlight hitting it is just really highlighting those little beam pieces sticking out, and that looks fantastic. And this is just adding so much extra detail and depth to the roof. I also went through and added in the eave, and I decided to make that out of core wood just to add a slight color variance, but also change in shape from being round, or sorry, from being square to being round. And hopefully also add in some extra stability, because parts of that roof were pretty close to breaking. We hop up in here. Yeah, these were very, very dark red a minute ago. So, we got it done on both sides. The roof is looking fantastic. Okay, the last thing I want to do for the roof is I want to add in one of these little decorative wood adornments. And I think I want to just go for the dragon coming right out of the eave. There we go. And because that sticks down a little bit, we're going to need a little 1 meter beam right there, just so that it looks like it matches in with the roof better. And that is great. Next thing I want to address is this big gap right here that's in both the front and back of the building. And I definitely don't like having that gap there. Okay, in order to help break up this large surface a little bit, I do want to throw a window in here. Okay, I'm kind of disappointed. I don't like it. So let's go ahead and move that back up by a half block. Still, it's okay. What if I did something else instead, though? I made a face. That was unintentional. Okay, despite inadvertently making a face, I think I like that much better. There's something actually there. It breaks up the flat surfaces. Okay, let's go ahead and take care of this back window too, and I need to collect up all the wood off the roof again. These poorly placed ovens are coming in quite handy for jumping up here. You know, as an alternative to having a square window, what if I do a diamond-shaped window? Come on, there. You work up there. Go right on. So I went and filled in the front of this building here. I've got some diamond-shaped windows in here that look kind of like eyes. Almost kind of like crying eyes with the lanterns there. I think this is much better. It's a little strange, which I like. Ooh, you know, I bet I could patch that little hole right there with this little 1 meter beam. Maybe I need a full beam. There we go. No more tiny little gap right there. I hate that tiny little gap. Let's go fix this back one real quick. Okay. And in the back wall, instead of having the 2 windows, I have one larger diamond-shaped window. I don't like the way that this beam merges in with the angled beam. I wish it sat a little bit more flush. But I really like the size and shape of the window overall. So I'm very happy with that. And we will break up the rest of the detail and shape of this a little bit later when we add in, probably in the next video, when we actually detail and do interior decorations on this. Alright, we've got the roof looking good. We've put some window eyes in here or eye windows, to break up the shape a little bit. And we had some core wood support beams in here, but I didn't really like them. Wasn't a big fan of the placement. They were where each of the 4 torches were. And they didn't do anything to add actual support to the build. But what I wanted to do is put in some rafters like I have over here. And this will help add more shape and filling in the inside of the building, so that it'll look a lot better. We have the rafters in. This still keeps the place feeling open because there's lots of height here, but it adds more detail to it. So it feels a lot more full without being claustrophobic. Anyways, so what I ended up doing was I moved where all the rafters were to begin with, all these upright poles. There were just originally 4 around where the torches were, just right behind each torch. And they weren't serving any purpose other than decorative. But they also didn't link up to snap points and didn't allow me to snap them together very well. So it was better to move them and space them out a little bit more. We've got one 4-meter beam in between each one of these rafters, which I feel like is a good distance when working with core wood. And then I've got the little 26-degree rafters coming up, or 26-degree beams coming up and trying to meet up with the roof. But it didn't quite get there, so I used this little 1-meter beam to help it match up and make it look like it's supporting the roof a little bit better. Because you can see here, without it, it doesn't quite there. But when you have the 1-meter piece in, it looks so much better. For the middle here, I originally tried having, coming like down and trying different directions, but ultimately this is what snapped in and looked best. And I can't get a piece coming from the ceiling here because it sticks down too low. And if I use the 2-meter one, it doesn't go all the way up to the roof. So I left that out, and I actually think that it helps keep it from looking too full with having less pieces there. So I am perfectly happy with that. The only thing that I would have liked is if I could have had like this coming down, but I can't have a 2-meter piece coming out of here, or it ends up sticking out through the roof. So we've got the rafters in, we've got a lot more use of the internal space. So when we get to the decorating phase, this is going to give me lots of places to hang banners, put up trophies, put up item frames that have things like tools or weapons or shields on them, and that'll allow us to have a lot more in the way of interesting things to look at when we're in here. Now, the next thing is we need some lighting sources back in here. Darius, when he made this, he threw in a couple of these braziers, the hanging braziers, and I really like those. Let's see how we can add those back in here. I would imagine they just snap. Oh, they don't actually snap. Interesting. But we should be able to just hang them from probably here. Kind of like to get them up just a little bit higher. I feel like this is a little bit low. Not hitting my head. Be annoying for the camera angles. That'll be the worst part. But possibly most importantly, you could actually put some more coal in that by hand and not have to pull out the ladders or anything. So that's always nice. Wonder if I snap, or not snap, but if I take out core wood, and then hang it from there. Light myself on fire. But if I put core wood back in now. There we go. That's just a little bit better of a height. Just by connecting it up to up there rather than the bottom of the core wood beam. Man, those things take a ridiculous amount of bronze. Five bronze, that's 60 pounds of metal. That does not look like it should weigh 50 pounds. Especially when the chain isn't even part of it, because the chain is a separate piece. That's a crazy amount of weight and material for that. Crafting recipes make no sense. Alright, look at that. There's tons of lighting in here now. Even in this corner, it's easy to read the signs. I'm pretty happy with that. And this is just coal to refill, so that'll be nothing because we have a coal farm. Let's take a quick look at the outside. Outside it's looking good. It's bland on the sides, but that's fine because this is just a warehouse. It's not really supposed to be terribly detailed. But what can we do here? Okay, so for the outside, this is a warehouse. So I don't want to add in like more windows to break up this flat wall. But I would like to do something to make it have a little bit more depth and shape to it than just being a flat wall. And I don't currently have any plans to put another building right here, which would definitely take care of that problem if there just wasn't a whole lot of access to the wall. It wouldn't matter what the wall looks like. But we have no plans for this space at all at the moment. So, we'll probably end up putting a house of some sort there at some point. Anyways, what if we just take and put some wood and stone storage down the side here? That could help add additional storage space, make it look good, and free up some of the space on the inside. Alright, now we've got some wood filling up a couple of these spots that just gives the impression of what this place is storing. It also adds some decoration and looks to it, and it looks great. And then we've got these chests here that we can store actual wood in, because you can store way more wood in a chest than you can storing it on the ground like this. And if we go grab some flint, there we go, now we've got some flint, and we can, after having a nearby crafting table, we can put down a chopping block here that gives the impression of what this place is actually being used for. And I think if I was chopping wood here, I would want to chop it in probably this direction. So that's the way I might put the axe in. Alright, and now this kind of side of the building has more detail, and it kind of tells a theme, and it looks great. We also broke up a little bit of the squareness of the house, or the warehouse, and that is also fantastic. We'll do a little bit more of that when we get to the decorating stage in the next episode. But for now, we've got to get this video edited and posted, and so it's been great working on this. It looks so much better, and it's a fantastic part of the build. What is that on the roof? I think it's just fog. Anyways. This warehouse is looking very nice, very unique. I've never done this style roof before with these little pieces coming off of it, and I really like how that's turned out. It's different, and it adds a lot of depth to the roof, actually. It's far more than just like the flat roof that this thing has. We're gonna have to fix that roof. Anyways. Yeah, it's turning out great. So I'm very happy with this. I can't wait to see it decorated in the next episode. And until I see you then, have fun gaming, and goodbye. It still says wave over my head.